Yeah, the other position we wanted to get into, the defensive ends, there's sort of two separate positions. You got the Leo position. What we're calling defensive end is kind of the strong side defensive end, 5 technique, where Dominic Bailey is the returning starter there. Some familiar faces in here, guys who've played. We mentioned Joshua Josephs. He's clearly the front runner to start at the Leo position. I think he's going to be the guy there. Caleb Herring, the one who might be sliding into a bigger role this year, and then Jordan Ross, as we talked about, someone that Tennessee would like to get on the field. But, again, Caleb Herring was the third guy, didn't play a whole lot, so how much do we see Jordan Ross this year? I think that's still maybe an open question, and it might depend on sort of what they can get out of him. At the other defensive end position, Dominic Bailey, Tyree West, Tyree Weathersby, those guys all back. We threw in Marion Dye, one of the freshmen. Ethan Utley also could be in that discussion, but he's one of the guys. He's been out there not in pads right now, so he's coming out of high school where he's not 100% right now, but someone that maybe could work his way into the mix later on as Tennessee gets back to full strength going into the fall. But a pretty healthy situation, and why I think one of the positions we're going to probably touch on later that we feel pretty good about is the defensive line, because that defensive end room overall between the Leos and the 5 technique guys, pretty healthy, that you've got at least a few guys you feel like you can count on.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, to help make the distinction for people at home, when you look at a Leo position, it's your mix between a D lineman and a linebacker. So he's got that middle build. When you're looking at a defensive end, that's just a true defensive line body. They're 250, 260, beefy guys.
Sometimes bigger than that.
Yeah, exactly, 280. Yeah. You get into those areas. Your Leos tend to stick around that 230, 240 area-ish. Look, I feel super comfortable with Josh Josephs. I've seen Josh Josephs. I've went against Josh Josephs. Super talented, has all the gifts. I think he's going to be able to absorb what Pierce was doing, maybe even do more. So I'm looking forward to what he's going to produce this fall. And I mean, Caleb Herring's been there for a couple of years, understands the processes, has good aggression, good motivation to play. But I think it opens up with the comments that Chop gave us this week about Jordan Ross. You might see a lot more movement out of him, and that 2 position, who's going to be the 2 for that position, that battle is going to continue to, I think, heat up and see who really wants it more, because I don't think anybody's going to take the 1 spot from Josh Josephs. I think that's his. It's his position to lose, that's for sure. And so I look forward to seeing how that 2 position plays out, who's going to end up winning the second string and get the more reps. Because, I mean, obviously you can't go out there the whole game. You're going to have someone that you can trust to go in and not have a drop-off of production. But then, I mean, you look at these defensive ends. I mean, these defensive ends are talented. They've been there for a while. Dominic Bailey just continues to impress me every single day. When he got in as a freshman, I did not think that he was going to be the player that he is today. And it makes me so happy to see these guys transform into the players that they are now. He's super aggressive, super motivated. He's completely had a 180 change of what his body type is throughout his time at Tennessee, and he cares about the University of Tennessee. He's been here long enough. He is a volunteer by all the means, and then you look at a guy like Tyree West. I mean, great body build, great aggression, great get off. I mean, uses his hands very well. Many times, I mean, he loves his little rip chop, and that used to get me all the time. And so I'm not worried about this defensive end position battle or anything. I think the biggest thing to learn from this is who's going to emerge as the leader of that room. Because, I mean, you lost a guy like Omar and Omari, but you've got a lot of strong suits in that defensive line room that can really step up and be that position leader.
So not a lot of movement there. Also worth noting, some other guys that we didn't include in this grouping: Kellen Lindstrom, Carson Gentle, actually a guy Rodney Gardner mentioned during his media availability last week. So some other guys who are not newcomers that could still be factors in there. And we know Rodney Gardner likes to play a lot of guys, so we're kind of spotlighting the ones that we think you're going to see on the field this year, but that doesn't mean you're not going to see some others, especially in blowouts and things like that. So there's a good chance you'll see some beyond this, knowing Rodney Gardner loves to rotate 12 guys whenever possible across the defensive line.